We've all had the experience of being in a conversation that we just couldn't follow. Perhaps someone was speaking about a subject we didn't know much about. Or maybe they were using jargon or a variety of English that we were unfamiliar with. Or perhaps we were trying to converse with someone with a much higher language level. We might have felt lost, and the conversation might have even affected our confidence levels. But everyone has the responsibility of making their conversations work. It may be important to ask questions when we don't understand, but it's just as important for the person with more knowledge or better language ability to accommodate the other speaker. Good communicators understand that in order to make themselves understood and build rapport with their conversation partners, they need to adapt the way they speak. Remember what we know about the other person and find out how much they know about what we're talking about. In the example we heard, Stefan was clearly very excited to talk about the work he'd done on his house. He failed to notice that Lorenzo felt lost and eventually got bored. But if Stefan had reflected on what he knew about Lorenzo, he might recall that Lorenzo doesn't have a detailed understanding of DIY. And if Stefan had been more sensitive to Lorenzo's responses, he might have also noticed that Lorenzo wasn't showing much interest in this conversation about home improvements. So, when we become aware that there's a knowledge gap or a gap of language ability between us and the other party, what can we then do? There are some communication strategies we can employ to make our conversations clearer and more pleasant for everyone involved. First, think carefully about what you want to say and the point you're trying to make. If you feel there might be a gap you need to accommodate, avoid talking too much and jumping from one topic to another. Sometimes less is more. Second, be aware when talking about complex concepts that your conversation partner might not understand. Where necessary, avoid the use of idioms, acronyms, and jargon. If you do use them, remember to explain. Paraphrase, say it again in a different way. Simplify, and give examples. Also, stress key words and use pauses, especially when talking about complex things. Finally, don't assume that the other person can read your mind and understand everything you say. Just because you know something well does not mean they do too. Ask questions and be aware of their responses. By doing this, you can make your message easier to understand. But to do that, you need to first be aware that accommodation is needed.